The beauty of physical evidence is that it tells a story. We look at the firearm, we look at the blood, there were cartridges left behind, projectiles were found within the toilet. Physical evidence cannot lie.
Day 20 of the Oscar Pistorius murder trial continued in much the same vein as yesterday, with the accused defending himself against the onslaught of State Prosecutor Gerrie Nel.
You're sorry that you have to think of them, you're sorry for their pain and sorrow, but you're not sorry that you killed their daughter. It's not in there.
I'm terribly sorry that I took the life of their daughter, my lady.
Now you say that.
Gerrie Nel tried to unpick the defence's contention that the pair were in a loving relationship by examining text messages sent between the two.
But then it's about how wrong she was. And that is why you never replied. It's because it's all about Mr. Pistorius. That was what your relationship was about.
It's not true, my lady.
Talking about faults and taking responsibility, let's deal with the Tasha's incident. Please explain to me why you pleaded not guilty.
I didn't discharge the firearm, my lady. That's why I pleaded not guilty.
But it cannot be. You had the firearm when the shot went off.
That's correct, my lady.
So is that not discharging?
I physically didn't discharge the firearm, my lady. The firearm went off when it was in my position, but I didn't have my finger, and I don't remember having my finger on the trigger.
You never gave it to your legal team that my finger wasn't on it.
That's incorrect, my lady.
Now, explain. You see, Mr. Pistorius, you're blaming everybody. You won't take responsibility. That gun cannot fire if you don't pull the trigger. Who pulled that trigger?
I didn't pull the trigger, my lady.
Who did?
I don't know, my lady. I didn't pull the trigger.
Then, the incident at the Vaal. One of the charges Pistorius is facing relates to firing a gun through the sunroof of a moving car.
That story was fabricated, my lady. It's never happened. It was not the truth.
But it's a bad fabrication. Because they never spoke to each other, it seems, because they've got different reasons why it happened, where it happened. It was a terrible fabrication between the two of them.
My lady, they've been in contact.
Just before lunch, it was back to Pistorius's version of accidental.
Did you fire deliberately?
No, my lady, I did not fire deliberately. I'm still with the fact that I fired the gun out of fear.
So, you never wanted to shoot at intruders coming out of the bath?
That's correct, my lady.
Accidentally, your fingers pulled the trigger?
I started shooting
at the intruders?
At the door, my lady.
But in your mind, at the intruders?
It's what I perceived as the intruder coming out to attack me, my lady.
So it wasn't accidentally?
Well, lady, I'm getting confused with this accidentally and not accidentally. When I try to explain myself, I'm told to say it's either an accident or not.
After lunch, the minute details of events leading up to the shooting. Oscar said he'd fallen asleep with his arms around Reva. How on earth had he not known she wasn't in bed after he'd brought in the fans?
I don't know how she got up out of bed. I was in close proximity to her, but I didn't see her get out of bed.
So she got up only after you closed the curtains, because before you closed the curtains, it wasn't pitch black.
I don't know when she got up, my lady.
Yeah, but before you closed the curtains, it wasn't pitch black. If she got up, then you would have seen her.
I wouldn't have seen her, my lady, because it was behind me.
Mr. Pistorius, your version is a lie. You never closed that curtains, Mr. Pistorius, in the first instance. You see, let us just look. A policeman must have been clever enough to move that fan just back into the door to make your version impossible.
There were many things that were moved here. The fan was one of them.
It was never moved. That door was open when you and the deceased got an argument. Nobody moved anything.
Eddie, I'm just sorry. The argument part I did not understand. That I cannot remember evidence to that effect.
Milady, I say she screamed when she ran away. It's not an assumption, it's evidence, it's circumstantial evidence. We cannot lead eyewitness evidence because the one witness we would want to call is dead.
The state ultimately has to prove intent, and that Oscar Pistorius' version is not only unreasonable, but it's also improbable.